So back last year, guys, I made a video talking about how Boruto would end up unlocking the Tenseigan, and boy, after this week's chapter, Boruto Chapter 10, it is much more clear that he will. For those of you who are unaware of what the Tenseigan is, it looks very similar to the Byakugan. Now, if you haven't seen Naruto the Last, go watch that movie before watching this video, because it's going to contain major spoilers as to what the Tenseigan is. It's pretty much a dojutsu that Hamura Otsutsuki once possessed, and obviously some of his descendants possess that shit as well, like Doneri in Naruto the Last. It's characterized by blue pupils, it also has a white floral pattern, so it looks very, very much like the Byakugan, but it's much stronger. You could literally bring the fucking moon into the earth, take Pain's abilities, and put it on crack. Not only can it do that, but it gives you an amazing chakra mode. Now, this chakra mode is the equivalent of a godly Jinchuriki chakra mode. A lot of chakra reserves lie when you obtain the Tenseigan. Now again, guys, I predicted Boruto would get the Tenseigan back over a year ago, before the first chapter of Boruto even aired, where we see an adult Boruto with the Byakugan, and we know the Byakugan leads to the Tenseigan. So now we're here with the 10th chapter of Boruto, and how do I know Boruto is going to get the Tenseigan? Well, the answer is very simple. You already have one of the major requirements being filled to get the Tenseigan in the latest chapter of Boruto, Boruto Chapter 10. The requirements for receiving the Tenseigan is combining the chakra of Hamura's descendants within the Otsutsuki and Hyuga clans and having the Byakugan, which is why Doneri, an Otsutsuki clan member who was descended of Hamura's, tried to steal Hinata to get her Byakugan. When an Otsutsuki clan member implants the Byakugan into their eye socket, the combination of the chakra that they already have with the Byakugan will transform automatically into the Tenseigan, meaning they'll get brand new, crazy, cracked up gravitational abilities and an amazing chakra mode that rivals that of the Jinchuriki. Again, the Tenseigan chakra mode, in my honest opinion, is superior to most other chakra modes. Only thing that it's probably not superior to is maybe the Ninetales chakra mode. And that's simply because Naruto developed a really great relationship with the Kurama and got stronger himself solo without the Kurama chakra. He ended up defeating Doneri, of course. Now, back when I made that video about Boruto getting the Tenseigan, a lot of you guys were like on board with the fact that Boruto could get the Byakugan, and we know an interview came out where Kishimoto said, like, I forgot to give Boruto the Byakugan, that's why I gave it to Himawari. And then when the first chapter of Boruto dropped, we see an adult Boruto with the Byakugan, of course, and a lot of other stuff as well, like the curse mark probably grew all over his body and manifested all over his body. So a lot of you guys were on board with the Byakugan side of things, but what about the Otsutsuki chakra side of things? You guys were not on board with that. A lot of you guys were like, Double Four, you're wrong. He's not going to get Otsutsuki chakra. That shit would not even make sense. Now fast forward to chapter 10, a lot of you guys aren't saying these things anymore. We got some major bombshells. For one, Sarada is saying that Boruto's eyes look abnormally blue. Bitch, what do you mean look abnormally blue? What does that even mean? Well, it means that he's about to develop the Byakugan. It's sort of forming. It's in the stages of forming. So yes, he will be getting the Byakugan soon. And why is that? Because he had a very emotional experience against Momoshiki. These ocular powers develop under stress. That's how the Sharingan forms, and then that's how the Byakugan forms. What makes you think the Byakugan's any different? If you have the requirements to bring out those ocular powers, stress will bring them out. So there's the Byakugan side of things, and we already know he's going to get it. What about the Otsutsuki chakra? Well, he ended up fighting Momoshiki, and after the fight is over, in the same way that Hagoromo appeared when Naruto and Sasuke died, kind of, you know, some of the spiritual chakra effects lingering on or whatever that was kind of inside of them, because they were obviously the reincarnations of Indra and Ashura. Well, you have the remnants of Momoshiki saying some very odd things. For one, saying those blue eyes of yours will one day take everything from you. Why not right now? He has blue eyes right now. Well, the answer is very simple. It hasn't developed into the Tenseigan blue eyes. We know it's going to develop into the Byakugan blue eyes, but the Byakugan has never been equated with a lot of destruction. And I feel like, you know, Shippuden is sort of at fault for that because, let's be honest, guys, they really stopped focusing on the Byakugan. They started only focusing on the Sharingan or Naruto. The Tenseigan is directly linked with destruction, as Doneri was going to bring the moon down into the earth. And here's the thing, guys. I know a lot of you guys are going to say, oh, well, Doneri never ended up doing any of that destruction shit. Well, here's the thing. Doneri never used that eye correctly. He never used that shit correctly. For all we know, the Tenseigan could be stronger than the Rinnegan. You know, as the story goes on, how, like, facts get updated, like, at one point in time, we thought that the Rinnegan was unassociated with the Sharingan. Well, it just so happens that the eye wasn't a special eye that no one could ever get. It was an eye that was the product of mixing different chakras, right? The Uchiha being involved. And when part 1, for instance, started, none of us actually thought the Sharingan had multiple different forms, right? We didn't know about the Mangekyo Sharingan or the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan or a mix between the Rinnegan or the Sharingan. So facts get updated as the story progresses. Facts about the Tenseigan will be updated as the story progresses, and we will understand more about those eyes and the destruction that they cause. The destruction that Momoshiki is sure that Boruto will bring upon the Naruto world. And do you see this link between Boruto, Kawaki, and the first chapter of the series, and how everything is destroyed? Well, that is foreshadowing right there. I actually feel as if Boruto is partially responsible for that destruction. I don't think he intentionally did it, but I think Kawaki played on that weakness or played on that fate and ended up using Boruto, maybe manipulating him. Then you've got Momoshiki, for instance, saying that once someone defeats a god, they cease to be an ordinary person. Obviously, Boruto isn't an ordinary person to begin with, having Hyuga blood, having Uzumaki blood, or the blood of someone who is the reincarnation of Ashura. He is not a normal child, of course. So facts, it's not a coincidence when Naruto and Sasuke died against Madara temporarily and Hagoromo appeared to give them two weird-looking marks, the sun and moon marks, that shit just happened like that. That wasn't an isolated incident, because in this chapter, you have Boruto defeating Momoshiki, and as a result, by the end of the chapter, he also now has some weird mark on his hand. These two things are correlated. They both have to do with the Otsutsuki clan. On one hand, Hagoromo triggered those marks on Naruto and Sasuke, and on the other hand, Momoshiki, another Otsutsuki clan member, triggered that mark on Boruto, which is why by the end of the chapter he has a diamond-shaped mark. Now, I know there's going to be one dirt in the comment section who's like, but what does that have to do with Otsutsuki chakra? Well, I don't know. You know, Naruto and Sasuke were given Otsutsuki chakra. Sasuke developed an ocular dojutsu as a result of that shit, so you'd have the same situation right here. He was literally given Otsutsuki chakra, or at least some kind of blood DNA. That mark is attributed to Momoshiki. It didn't just all happen as a coincidence. He fought Momoshiki and he got that mark as a result by the end of the chapter, defeating this guy. Sorry for sounding passionate, but I know there's going to be a few people like that in the comments section. So he's got the Otsutsuki chakra. It's going to mix with his Hyuga blood. And as a result of that, guys, in the long run, he'll get that blue eye that is going to take everything away from him. It's going to be the Tenseigan in the long run. And I believe it is attributed to the destruction we see at the beginning of Chapter 1 with Boruto and Kawaki and Naruto being dead and Sasuke most likely being dead and the Lee Village being a rubble. Yo, this shit is going to be crazy. And no, I didn't snort a line of crack to come up with this theory. A second grader could. It's just very simple. Again, the two chakras mix, and that shit happens. As one guy, the official Young Page, said on my comments section, Boruto has direct lineage to the gods through his Nine Tails bloodline, mixing with the Hyuga bloodline. Think about it, a god created the Jinchuriki, and a god also possessed the Byakugan. So Boruto has both. He's going to get the Tenseigan in the end. And this was a comment on my Boruto's going to get the Tenseigan video a long time ago, like a year ago, guys, before the first chapter even dropped.